Today, we're going to talk about a framework for building real, lasting mental strength. And I'm not talking about just feeling strong. I mean becoming truly unbreakable when it really, really matters. You've probably asked yourself this, right? You see someone who is smart, they're hardworking, they seem to have it all together. Maybe that person is even you. And yet, the second real pressure hits, it all just unravels. A single setback can totally derail their whole week. One negative comment can just live rent-free in their head for days. So what is actually going on here?
Well, here's the thing. We've kind of got it all backward. We blame the pressure. Life is too hard or this situation is unfair. But the real problem? It's internal. We've been taught how to perform tasks, but nobody ever really teaches us how to endure. We collapse because our minds were never trained to handle the weight in the first place.
All right, so let's dig into that idea a little more. Pressure doesn't actually destroy people. It's more like a stress test for your mind. All it does is reveal what's already there, or, more importantly, what isn't there in terms of mental training. And this is where you see the huge difference. An untrained mind hears that pressure alarm and immediately thinks, danger. It looks for an escape, it gets defensive, it gets distracted. It's just a pure, automatic, emotional reaction. A trained mind, on the other hand, feels that exact same pressure and treats it as information. It takes a beat, it observes what's happening, and then it chooses how to respond. For the untrained mind, it's like this vicious cycle gets kicked off every single time. The pressure triggers an emotion, say anxiety. That anxiety triggers a knee-jerk impulse, like procrastinating. That impulse creates a negative consequence, like missing a deadline. And that consequence just feeds the self-doubt that makes you even more fragile the next time pressure shows up. So, how in the world do we break that cycle? Well, it all starts with a huge foundational shift in how we think. We have to stop chasing these unreliable feelings like motivation and start building the reliable skill of control.
This quote right here gets to the absolute heart of it. We think we need to feel strong or feel confident before we can act, but that's completely backwards. Strength isn't a feeling, it's a capacity, just like a muscle. You don't just feel strong one day, you build it through practice, through reps, especially on the days you don't feel like it at all. And this brings us to a really critical distinction: motivation versus discipline. Think of motivation like a sugar rush. It feels amazing, it gives you a jolt of energy, but man, is it fragile. It's gone the second things get difficult. Discipline, though, that's structural strength. It's the system you build that works no matter what your mood is. And that's why, in the long run, discipline will always, always beat motivation.
The core skill we're talking about here is emotional management. And listen, this is not about suppressing your feelings or pretending you're a robot, not at all. It's about creating a little bit of space between a feeling and your behavior. It means you can feel rage without yelling. You can feel intense anxiety without running away. That little separation, that's the foundation of being unbreakable.
Okay, so how do we actually train this capacity? Let's get super practical. We're going to break it down into 3 core pillars of mental strength. Pillar number 1 is the pause. When something happens that triggers you, your gut instinct is to react instantly, right? The pause is the conscious, deliberate choice to just do nothing for just a few seconds. It's not passive, it's actually an act of active restraint. And in that tiny little gap you create, you take back control. You give yourself the power to choose. Pillar 2 is discipline. And this isn't about some massive heroic effort. Forget that. This is about small, boring consistency. It's about showing up for that one small commitment, especially on the days you feel zero motivation. Every single time you do that, you're casting a vote for discipline over your temporary mood. And finally, pillar number 3 is learning to sit with discomfort. Most of us are wired to see discomfort as a giant red flag, a signal to stop, to escape. The real training here is learning to just stay with that feeling, just a little bit longer than your instincts are screaming at you to. Whether it's the awkwardness of a tough conversation or the frustration of a project that's just dragging on. This mindset shift is absolutely everything. Discomfort isn't the enemy. Think of it as an indicator light on your dashboard. It's just telling you that you're at the very edge of your current ability. It's the friction you need for growth to happen. And when you stay with it, even for a few extra seconds, you expand your capacity and build genuine resilience. Now, practicing these pillars doesn't just change what you do. It actually does something much, much deeper. It starts to build a whole new identity. And here's a tough but really essential truth.
When the pressure is on, you don't rise to the occasion. You don't. You default to your deepest held beliefs about who you are. So if, deep down, you see yourself as someone who just can't handle stress, your actions are going to follow that script, no matter how ambitious your goals are.
This shows us that identity isn't something you just find one day. It's something you build, brick by brick. First, you just decide who you want to be. Say, I am a person who is calm under pressure. Then, every single time you practice the pause, you cast a little vote for that identity. The actions have to come first, and then your belief in yourself will start to catch up to the evidence you're creating.
So the key is to literally change the question you ask yourself. Stop asking, what do I feel like doing right now? That's a trap. Start asking, what would the person I want to become do in this situation? That little switch immediately shifts your focus from temporary feelings to long-term character, and it makes it so much easier to make the right choice.
Okay, I know this is a lot. It might sound great in theory, but where do you actually start? Let's make this super actionable right now.
Look, the single biggest mistake people make is trying to become a completely new person overnight. That just piles on more pressure. Real unbreakable strength isn't built in some grand gesture. It's built quietly, through tiny, consistent reps that nobody else even sees or applauds. So just pick one, seriously, just one of these to focus on for the next few days. Don't try to master all three at once. Are you going to practice the pause the next time you feel that flash of anger? Are you going to stick to just one disciplined action no matter your mood? Or are you maybe going to try to stay with a moment of discomfort for just 10 seconds longer? Pick one.
And that kind of brings us to our final thought here. Pressure is going to happen. It's not something you can avoid, but it is something you can prepare for. And it will always reveal the character that you've been building in your quiet daily training. So the real question isn't if the pressure will come. The question is, when it does, what is it going to reveal about you?